Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me. Today's video is all about answering a third type of question in the IELTS writing task 2, the infamous essay. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and the type of question I'm going to be answering today is advantages and disadvantages. So if you'd like a little bit of a heads up on that and see how I do it, then please keep watching. Advantages and disadvantages. Now, I want you to consider this question carefully because it's not quite as straightforward as you might think. Let's read the question now. Around the world, people are now living longer than ever before in the past. Some say an aging population creates problems for governments. Others believe there are benefits to society having more elderly people. To what extent do the advantages of possessing an aging population outweigh the disadvantages? So, what do you think? Think about this for a moment, particularly the question, to what extent do the advantages of possessing an aging population outweigh the disadvantages? Well, the first problem I see is it takes away your choice with what's the advantages and what's the disadvantages, because it already tells you that it believes that the advantages of possessing an aging population outweigh the disadvantages. So you've got to answer this question in the positive, that the elderly population is beneficial and outweighs the disadvantages of having an aging population. So, not quite as straightforward as it looks. Anyway, let's move on with this. Okay, now you know the task. So what have you got to do to fulfill this task? You've got to write a minimum of 250 words in 40 minutes. So the first thing you must do before you write anything is plan your answer before you start writing. And if you've been practicing this, you should be able to complete that in around about 3 minutes. The next stage is to paraphrase the task. Once again, practicing 3 minutes should be not a problem for you. Then on to writing your thesis, and your thesis is going to give us a summary of what your essay is about. And once again, if you've been practicing that, 3 minutes. Once you've got your paraphrase and your thesis, you paraphrase your task and you've got your thesis, that's your introductory paragraph complete. Now you've got to write your body paragraphs, and you need to give yourselves 20 minutes for that. Whether you write 2 body paragraphs or you write 3 body paragraphs. The difference being is if you're only writing 2 body paragraphs, then you need to be looking at getting at least 80 words into each. If you're writing 3, then you should be aiming for 60 plus in each. And that's the body paragraphs done, and then you've only got to write the conclusion, and the conclusion should be fairly quick, because all I want you to do in the conclusion, or the best way to handle the conclusion, is just to rephrase your introductory paragraph, which is a summary of what the essay was going to be, and when you write your conclusion, that should be a summary of what the essay was. So they're very similar, they're stating the same sort of things, so you just need to paraphrase them or re-engineer them, as I say, and that's the essay complete. Well done. And it still leaves you a few minutes just to check over your punctuation and your spelling, etc., and that should give you a good essay to present to the IELTS test. Let's talk about vocabulary and grammar. Both of these are very, very important to get right if you want to do well in IELTS and you want to get the band scores, both in writing and in speaking. What I'm telling you now applies equally. Vocabulary. Use vocabulary that you feel confident with, it comes from your active vocabulary, the vocabulary that you can use and confidently use in context without any worry that you're getting it wrong. Do not use the what we call your passive vocabulary, which is maybe it can be maybe slightly more complex, etc., but you're just not 100% confident on how to use it in context. You understand it, yes, but you don't really know 1,000,000% how to use it. If you use it and it's out of context, it's going to cost you very, very dearly, and it will make a problem trying to achieve your band scores. So that's vocabulary. Grammar. Use a variety of structures. Use simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and complex compound sentences. If you can display that you can use all of these equally efficiently, then you're going to do very, very well. And that's exactly what they're looking for when you're going into the sort of band 7 plus aspects. This is very, very important to you. So practice this. If you've watched my previous videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about and how important it is and how to use this as well. If you haven't seen my previous videos, then maybe it's time to take a look at them. Here's a list of subordinate conjunctions, what we call dependent words, that if you don't have a list of these, then you should stop the video and make a list of these. And add any more that you want to look up and use, because these are words that are very important and will guide you into writing the sort of structures required if you know how to use them. So do that. It's a critical part of getting good band scores. So let's start by making our plan. And as those that know me, no, I like to do it by having a left-hand side with the advantages or the positives and the right-hand side with the disadvantages or the negatives. And that way I can make a decision about what I think, and I can see where the advantages, etc., lie. And it also gives me the opportunity to plan my body paragraphs, whether I'm going to have 2 or 3 or whatever I'm going to do anyway. So a good plan is easy to formulate, and the guiding factor, of course, is we've got to do it quickly. So, we've got to think about it. Okay, so the plan today is we already know, because the task says the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. So we have got to show that in our answer, that we've got to see stronger advantages and disadvantages to this particular task. So what I put down here is advantages. Experienced and knowledgeable workers. Yep, because they've been working all their lives, hopefully. Expanding the workforce, full and part-time. So it gives us a bigger workforce because these people tend to work longer now. The retirement ages have increased, and that's another point to make about it. Increased healthcare demand, encouraging advancements in medical technology and treatments. Yeah, that's for sure. And we see a lot of particular technology. I've seen a lot of things coming out to help elderly people with things like hearing and eyesight, etc. And there's lots of advantages to be gained there. Disadvantages, of course, increased healthcare costs. As the population gets older, they need more care, and there is increased healthcare costs. And there's also challenges with pension and social security, that we've got a bigger growing elderly population, and the maintenance for pension and social security the responsibility of that tends to fall back on the younger generations. So that's a disadvantage that I know of also. So overall, what have we got? Well, we've got 3 advantages and we've got 2 disadvantages. So we can justify saying that these outweigh, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Looking at the body paragraphs, me personally, I would go for 3. I would go for 1, talking about the advantages, and then 2, talking about the disadvantages. And in the 3rd paragraph, I would comparing the two and pointing out that the advantages certainly outweigh the disadvantages. So I would make it a three body paragraph essay, which is good because we only need to put 60 words in each paragraph, which should be fairly easy, and if we need to, we can write a little bit more. So that's the way it is, and the plan looks good. I think we need to go, I will go with that for this particular video. Okay, now we're looking at paraphrasing the task, and there's quite a three-line task here. So we want to do this as quickly as possible and as easy as possible. So let's start breaking this down and looking for what we can change. Around the world. Well, what can we say is around the world? We can say globally. That means all around the world. So it's happening all around the globe. Globally. People are now living longer. Okay, the longevity. Longevity means people are living longer, the length of people's life. Longevity is increasing for the population, etc. So let's look at what I've written here. Longevity is increasing constantly in the global population. So we've just covered that first sentence. And then I've said, with concerns being given that this is presenting issues for governments. The statement actually, some say aging population creates problems for government. So we're just saying concerns are being given, this is presenting issues for government. And then it goes on upstairs as to say, others believe that there are benefits to society having more elderly people. Others view this as a positive aspect, identifying various benefits to be gained. Okay, so that's an adequate paraphrase for the task, and paraphrasing is something that you need to get the basics so you can do these quite quickly. We don't look for long, complex paraphrasing because you've only got a brief time to get it changed. So the simpler the better. Okay, let's quickly now create our thesis statement. And our thesis is going to tell the reader exactly what our essay is about, what it's going to look at, etc., and give them an idea of what to expect in their essay. It's a very important part as well, equally important, because the examiner will look at this to make sure that what you say in your thesis is what you cover in your essay. So let's see what I've said here. This essay will delve into the perceived benefits of an aging society, while also conducting a thorough assessment of the associated disadvantages. By weighing these factors, the aim is to determine how much the advantages of possessing an aging population outweigh the drawbacks. And that's exactly what the task set us out to do, to see how we outweigh the problems. So if we do it as per our thesis statement, we should be spot on. Okay, now we can complete our introductory paragraph by connecting our paraphrasing aspect to our thesis aspect. So we end up with this statement here, which is our introductory paragraph. I won't read it to you, we've already been through it, but this contains 74 words and is good. As I say many times in my introduction, I try to aim between 60 and 80, so we've crept up from before we were getting into the mid-60s, we're now coming into the mid-70s. No problem, it's good, perfect. So I'm very happy with that. Now we're going to start putting our essay together by writing our body paragraphs. Now in this particular case I'm aiming to write 3, but we've got to do this within about 20 minutes, and that's our target, and we can only do that if we practice writing these essays. Okay, if you remember when we looked at our plan, we said that the first body paragraph would relate to the advantages, the positive aspects, which I've listed here above the paragraph that I've written, and the paragraph I've written is based on what I see here from our plan. What I've said is, after due consideration, The following positive aspects are identified as the main benefits gained from an aging population. Experienced and knowledgeable persons remain available and can still give direction to the workforce. Although there will be additional expenses and carrying costs, these are counterbalanced by encouraging advances in medical technology and treatments. So we've got it there, we've said it all, and I think that's a very, very good first paragraph. Looking at our word count here, it's only 52 words, and I like to have normally 60 or more. But I'm not too worried about it. 8 words short, I'm sure we're going to more than make up for that in the overall body of the essay. So not to be concerned about that right now. We could always go back and add something to some other part if we needed it, but I am 100% confident we won't need to do that. Moving on to body paragraph 2, and looking at the 2 notes that I have here from the plan, increased healthcare costs and pension and social security challenges. Yes, we do see that in this world at the moment, and we should be able to pluck examples to use in our essay. What I've said here, after considering medical advantages which at this moment in time may exist, there are concerns that should aging continue in the same way for the world's population, it will create problems. The burden of supporting this section of the community falls to the working class. Already we are witnessing problems about the age of retirement being increased and that causing protests in countries like France, which was very recently. It is likely that more and more countries are going to follow this trend in future. So, yeah, I've put an example in there which will go down well, and there's 81 words in there, so we've got no problem with words. We're now going to write our third paragraph, which is very good in this particular instance, because I think, although this maybe looked a little bit complicated to start with, it works out very well. It's something that if you think about, you could probably talk about quite a lot. Body paragraph 3. By comparing the advantages and disadvantages, it may be concluded that at this moment in time, the advantages may slightly outweigh the problems. As population aging increases, the associated difficulties will become more serious and could erase any perceived benefits. Potentially, this could become a major concern globally. I think that says it all, and I think that's true actually. If you take a proper opinion, I know this is only a test, so we follow the test, but if it asks you to do something like justify the benefits of an aging population, and you already know that there is no benefits and it's causing big problems, that weighs on your mind when you're doing your test also. So anyway, that's just a by and by. So that's our body paragraph 3. Okay, now we're down to the last part, the conclusion. If you look at this page here, on the top here, I've put the thesis statement actually, and this makes the conclusion very, very easy. We've got the thesis statement up there. So the thesis statement outlines what we were going to write about and summarizes all that. The conclusion summarizes what we've done in the essay. So it's more or less saying the same thing, but only in the past tense. We've done it already. So it's very easy to change the thesis to be your conclusion. On the top here we said for our thesis, this essay will delve into the perceived benefits of an aging society, while also conducting a thorough assessment of the associated disadvantages. By weighing these factors, the aim is to determine how much the advantages of possessing an aging population outweigh the drawbacks. Boom, that was our thesis, and that's what we've done. Our conclusion. This essay has concluded that although the aging population is providing some benefits at this time, these are minimal. If this population aging trend continues, it is likely to result in future problems that could raise real concerns. Perfect, perfect. So here you are, we've reached the end, and this is our essay complete and ready for marking. In this essay we've created 294 words, slightly more than I like to. I like to go between 250 and 280, but an extra 14 words is neither here nor there, and sometimes it's necessary to go a bit over the top, and it shouldn't take that long to write those few extra words. So it's the time, of course, that we're concerned about. Okay, so that's that question answered. So there we go, people. Another question answered, the advantages and disadvantages and how the one outweighs the other. So that's the third one I think we've done, maybe the fourth one. Anyway, we will be doing the others, whatever's still to be done. I hope you found this educational, and it'd be appreciated if you could maybe give me a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. It would really encourage me. Thank you very, very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video.